Very exciting to be at the gate in Notting Hill, and we're doubly excited because our film is going out in 200 screens across Britain and Ireland on Friday next, on the 23rd of September. So we're thrilled. We didn't expect to do so well and be on so many screens, but apparently the film has legs. It's a beautiful, inspirational, unashamedly romantic adventure story. And it's set in Ireland and Ethiopia and London's Chelsea. And it's quite epic in theme because it concerns how we as individuals can take back control of that little space, our own gardens, and invite wild nature into it, and in so doing preserve wild nature. And it's all told through the medium of this beautiful inspirational story of a young girl who can actually illuminate some solutions for humanity and for dealing with the environmental problems that we have, from loss of habitat and so forth. It's so important that we don't leave it up to governments to do our duty for us. And if we decide, for instance, to have clover lawns instead of mowed lawns which can't support one bee, clover lawns can support a myriad of pollinators, only have to be mowed once a year, and there's no toxic downside for beehives because you don't have to spray them. And now in this time when the fields are constantly sprayed, when worms can't live in the fields, when the topsoil is being eroded away, we're all sticking our heads in the sand, literally, and it will turn to sand if we continue to stick our heads there. And I absolutely love the wilderness, and it's my passion for the wilderness that drove me for 10 years to make this film, and I'm so incredibly happy that audiences love it. And grown men come out to me afterwards and cry and say, I remember places like this from when I was a child. But those wild places are being lost, and a lot of the little small native animals are being lost. The corncrake is gone from our fields. Even the hares are under threat. And they're terribly important to the balance. The ancient Celts believed that they should leave an area of the harvest uncut. They should leave an area of their fields uncut at harvest time. And the old Celtic farmers believed it was for luck, but for me, the Hare's Corner is now a place where we all should have one in our own gardens so that the wild species can actually thrive there, even in our cities, even in our suburbs. And that way we create our own sanctuary for the bees and for the other wild species. And it's terribly, terribly important for our children and for our grandchildren, because if they don't have a sense of the wilderness, if they don't understand what wild nature is, if they're constantly stuck in a computer or in a laptop playing some game, they'll have no sense of the wilderness. And if they don't have a sense of the wilderness in their own backyards, then we have a huge problem.
This story touches on something which a lot of people who are feeling wondering what is the purpose and point of what we're doing as humans on planet Earth, and searching for answers and searching for reasons for what they put their energy into. And it's a story about nature. It's a story about loving and protecting our Earth, and being creative and making beautiful spaces for humans to feel inspired in. In a way, we are nature, and everything we do is somewhat an extension of nature, even built-up cities. And as the impact of how we utilise the resources affects the planet and the environment and the climate, we have to really look at that and get better at how we work within our planet to live here. We have to survive. We have to live. We need shelter. We need food. How we do that and get that is something we need to work on and develop, because if we don't, we won't have a planet here for our future generations.
Dare to be Wild is a very beautiful film. It's an inspirational story which is based on a moment in my life. A time when I won a gold medal at the Chelsea Flower Show while simultaneously chasing a very handsome man to Ethiopia and back. It's a beautiful romantic story.
How do you feel having that very special moment in your own life captured on screen in this way?
I think I'm so used to it at this stage. It's just become part of the fabric of life, really. It's not surprising. The first time we saw it, it was quite strange and surreal, but we're kind of used to it now. I had been approached before, but no, this version, Vivienne de Courcy, who made the movie, had very good intentions, and her intentions were very important to me, which is to remind people how important nature is and how we're part of the fabric of life. and it's our job to be guardians of this planet, and she wanted to keep that. It's a very strong kind of motivation throughout the film, and she did, so her intentions really stayed strong, and I was very pleased with the outcome. Well, it's very straightforward. We're on the edge of a precipice, and we've forgotten what our role is on this planet, and our role is to be one of guardian. We're supposed to be keeping an eye on this place and minding it, and instead we are destroying it. So we have to be very, very quick and do something very, very positive very quickly in order to change things around, or else we won't be here anymore, and that would be a pity. I spent 5 years writing a book about that called The Garden Awakening, and I've just published it this year. So the book is my kind of plea to people to work with their own land in their own gardens and bring it back to full health. And if enough of us do that, if enough of us listen to what the land itself wants to become rather than imposing our own views on it, we can create a web of interconnected spaces which are sanctuaries for all the creatures that live above and below the soil, as well as us.